What up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 74 of Just Give Me 5. Hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got another awesome show lined up for you today. But if you guys caught episode 73, you saw we had none other than my man Mike Cause. And let me tell you, the Drunken Immortals paved the way for a lot of hip-hop artists out here in the scene. You know, and I was really happy to have Mike on. It's really awesome to see everything he's doing now. And, you know, I love the story that he was talking about being overseas, you know, and having all the fans out there recite his lyrics and stuff. I mean, because I personally remember me during my musical journey, being in Japan and having a couple people out there recite some of my lyrics. So I know how that feels, and it's kind of a surreal moment, you know. So, man, you know, just shout out to you, my brother. And, you know, I wish you nothing but continued success in everything you got coming up now. So make sure you guys watch episode 73. All right. But today's guest is another Arizona radio sensation who has definitely made her mark in the scene. We're going to talk about her early start in radio and how she got inspired. We're going to talk about some interviews that she's had, especially with her very close friend, Donnie Wahlberg. We're going to talk about what's next for her and so much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Nina Cruz.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Nina Cruz, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. Ooh, that's a 20-year-old question.
Okay.
Actually, even longer than that. I was probably about 7 or 8. Right. I was obsessed with radio. Radio was an obsession of mine. Yeah. Power 92, Y95, if we're going to go all the way back, and now I'm aging myself.
Bruce Kelly and Maggie Rock. Oh, my God.
There it is.
Yep.
Bruce Kelly and Maggie Brock. I actually used to call Bruce Kelly. I would call to see if I could introduce songs, and he actually would let me. I used to write Bruce Kelly letters, and he'd actually call. Obviously, I'd be at school, but he would call and he'd leave a message on my answering machine. And, you know, I wasn't Nina Cruz, Nadia then. Everybody knows me as Nadia now, too. But he would be like, hey, Nadia, it's Bruce Kelly. And I used to be like, Mom! I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I always told myself, like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. That is what I'm going to do. And, you know, of course, the next day you're like, I'm going to be a doctor. And I'm going to be a lawyer. And I'm going to be all this. But somehow it just stuck. Just, you know, I used to stream Power 106. When we still had dial-up internet, and Power 106 was barely streaming. You know, I even would stream Angie Martinez at Hot 97 at the time when she was there. And I just loved it. I loved the love that they got, and just the love I had for radio and for music in general. I knew I could never be a singer, so that wasn't going to work. So what else can I do with music? And that was kind of the start of it. Bruce Kelly, Maggie Brock, Kid and Ruben, other local legends here. I used to find myself waking up just to hear their intro. That's how I knew I was a radio nerd. Like, I'm over here thinking about intros, and like, you know, I'm listening between the records versus, you know, to the records. And I had an opportunity at 16, you know, to enroll at, I think it was Mesa Community College. So it was a dual enrollment, you know, still in high school, but able to do a marketing internship. And I researched it all myself, and I handed a paper to my mom, and I was like, hey, I need you to sign this. They're like, what? I was like, I'm going to work at the radio station. She was like, how did you do this? Like, how did you figure this out? You know, and I honestly, I don't remember how I figured it out. I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And nothing was going to stop me from that. I was passionate about it. And, you know, my mom and dad were like, damn it. She really is going to do this radio thing. Like, this is what she wants to do. So that's the start, and just inspiration. Bruce Kelly, Maggie Brock, Kid and Ruben, Angie Martinez. Those were all the main characters in me growing up and wanting to be the next Angie Martinez, you know, the next, you know, Kid and Ruben, you know, the Karina, another one, you know, with Kid and Ruben, you know, wanted to be her as well. And when I first started in radio, there wasn't much more to women in radio other than you being a midday girl, the co-host, women didn't normally have their own show. It just wasn't known like that to have your own night show, or a woman headlining her own morning show, or even afternoons for that matter, you know. But now it's evolved so much. Like it's been awesome to be a part of that process. But just for me, it was just I just wanted to be on. I didn't care what, where, or how. I just wanted to be on. Well, my first actual on-air debut was, it was a Sunday, and I remember this to this day. It's crazy that I'll never forget it. It was a Sunday. We were at a Circle K. I was with the Flavor Unit. Shout out Power 92 back in the day. I was hanging out with the Flavor Unit as an intern. Charlie Weddle was on. He was hosting whatever, just the Sunday shift. And, you know, whatever promo rep I was with, they were like, hey, the intern wants to do a call-in. You know, she's been practicing. And there I was practicing. And, you know, can you let her? It's the, you know, just this car wash call-in. And Charlie was like, sure. And, you know, they handed me the phone, and I did it. And it was, you know, I got everything down, and even Charlie coached me to it. And he was like, no, he goes, that was great. He's like, good job. I'll air it here in like, you know, 15 minutes. And I just remember calling my mom, Mom, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on. Right. It's like Sunday morning at like 9 a.m., but hey, it didn't matter, you know. And it was just a great experience. And, you know, shout out Charlie. Thank you for giving me my first on-air shot. As far as sitting on air, that was at, I think it was it was at 103.9 The Party.
103.9, yeah.
It's been.
That's how I remember you. You know, it was really from Foley was the 103.9.
The Party years. Wow. So we were in high school. Yeah. I was still in high school. It was the end of my senior year. Wow. And it was probably around March, April, so end of this 2001. And a gentleman by the name of Big Ben, who actually used to be on Power, he got his own night show at Party. Okay. And I was part of, you know, again, an intern, just in the promotions department. Yeah. Ben got his first day on air, and I just walked up, congratulated him. I was like, hey, congratulations, night show, big thing, you know, this, and that. And he's like, sit down. It's like, what? He's like, sit down, have a seat. Yeah. Go on with me. What? Zero idea that was even going to happen. And of course I was like, well, I got to call my parents first because I'm supposed to be home, you know, it's late, you know. And so called, got my permission. I felt so young, you know, hey Mom, can I stay at the radio station? So, and just sat with him as just kind of a co-host for that day. And the next day he asked me, he said, hey, you know, do you have anything going on for the rest of your school year? If you don't, and if your parents give you permission, we'd like to have you on. And I'm like, really? Like that? Like that's it? That's all it takes, you know? Just had to show up. And you know, I can't pinpoint exactly what we talked about. I just remember just being in shock, and just vibing with him, and just being able to just be me. Like I had no training in any other way other than, okay, well, I'm going to talk about music. I'm going to talk about artists. We're going to talk about songs, talk about whatever he wants to talk about. I don't know, you know? And and then it just kind of went from there. After that, I was like, okay, I've had enough of this co-host thing. I could do it by myself, you know? And first time they gave me my first on-air shift by myself on a Sunday morning at 3 a.m. It was 3 to 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Wow. And I mean, I begged for it. I was like, just give me a shot, just me by myself. He's like, all right, you want it? 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Sundays. I was like, done, wow. You know? And there I was at 1 a.m. prepping every break I was going to do and everything I was going to talk about because I was so nervous, you know? And this was on all on Party, all on 103.9 The Party. Yeah, 2001. Wow, man. 17.
And now prior to all this, though, you were interning as well?
I was interning still, so they were getting free work out of me. Yeah. I got to think about that now. I'm all like, you guys got a lot of free work out of me.
It works, man. You know what I mean? They're like, you know, paycheck now, we got some pizza here, you know?
The first check I made, or when I finally got hired by them, they hired me at $5.15 an hour.
Gotcha. That don't even sound legal.
I know. I was like, but to me, I was like, hey, $5.15. That's. I had no money. I was, you know, parents were paying for everything. Like, I felt like I was rich. I was bringing home like, I don't know, $200 a week. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Making money.
Exactly, man. But you're doing what you love. You know?
Exactly.
So
And
that right there, it's like you can't put a dollar on that, you know. So
not at all.
that's awesome, man. And you were doing. So how long were you with Power? Or,
So
I'm sorry, Party.
with Party, it lasted about a year and a half. So I got that deal March of 2001. No contracts or anything, just, hey, come be on, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
October 31st, 2001, I'll still never forget this too, because that was my first heartbreak. Party switched to The Edge.
The Edge, man.
They flipped the format.
Yep.
That's October 31st, 2001. They brought us all in. It's like, hey, sorry guys, it's a rock station now, so we got to let you guys go. And I was just like, what? Like, how does this happen? How does this work? You know? And so we just kind of all walked out. Everybody walked out. I went home. I cried. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried because I was like, oh, I don't have a radio station anymore. Like, what am I gonna do? You know? And that was so.
So then
from there, I took a little bit of a break because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to do. You know, I think I worked at Sam Goody for a little bit. I was like, I'm gonna keep it in music.
Oh my God, that's legendary.
God, Lee, I'm dating myself.
Sam Goody.
Yeah, it was at Chandler Mall. I got hired to work at Sam Goody, good old record store.
Yeah.
It was either that or Circles, you know, but Sam Goody was it. And I think it was, I ran into, again, another Arizona legend, Chino.
Chino, yeah.
Yes. And asked, he had just moved over to Kiss FM.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, are you guys looking for promotion people? You know, he's like, I think we are. Come apply, see what happens.
Yeah, right.
So I did, you know, and next thing you know, they hired me as a promo person, but I wasn't going to be a promo person for long. I knew where my heart was, and basically begged Mark Medina and Chino to just give me a shot. Like, can you give me a shot? Can you get me on? And they gave me a shot, and I worked there from 2002 to, let's say it was 2004.
Okay.
The years are starting to blend in that early, so bear with me a little bit. But yeah, I remember I did have my 21st birthday on air there, so it had to have been around 2004 till 2005. But yeah, they just gave me a shot, did weekends, did some fill-ins for people, and then they actually gave me the overnight shift when people actually really did overnight. So I would walk into the radio station at 11 p.m. and I walked out the radio station at 6 a.m.
Wow.
You know, so did a full overnight shift Monday through Friday.
So that was that. We'll take us down a little timeline from then.
Okay, after that, I had left Kiss FM. I couldn't do overnights anymore. I was like, it's taking a toll on me, guys. It is. It was definitely rough. I was like, I have no life. What is going on here? I'm 21. I should be out and about doing things, and I'm living here at this radio station. I actually got the offer to work at Mega 104.3.
There you go.
And that's where Nina Cruz was born. So those early years was Nadia. You know, all I just went by was Nadia.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in, talking to Alex Santa Maria, and he was just like, well, I like Nadia. I was like, I don't want to be Nadia. He's like, well, what do you want to be? I'm like, give me a day. Wow. And I just kind of looked at, or just thought about names, like what would work, you know, what might have a good vibe.
Right.
And she came out of thin air, and I just came back and I was all like, Nina Cruz. He goes, Nina Cruz. Nina Cruz. That's your new name. He's like, from now on, you are just Nina Cruz. It's like, okay. And that's where she started. And I started as, again, a weekend person. No overnights this time. I felt very joyed for them to actually give me a day shift.
Right.
I was like, what do you mean I'm gonna be on during the day? Like when people are listening? They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So weekends during the day, and they offered me my first night show.
Nice.
So it was called Boogie Nights with Nina Cruz. I mean, you know, Mega was old school, so it was very disco-y at night. You know, that was kind of their play on it since I was so young. Like, they were like, well, you know, we can't let the listeners know you're only like 21 years old, because what the hell do you know about this music at 21? You know, we need you to sound a little more like 31 if you can, you know. So I did a lot of research, you know, asking my parents a lot of questions about certain songs, certain things, and, you know, it really grew my love, obviously, for old school music. But, you know, I took that, you know, ran with it, and stayed there for a couple of years. I actually did mornings for a little while with the Manic Hispanic.
There you go.
I mean, I'm hitting all these local legends. Hey guys, shout out to all of you. Did mornings a little bit with him. Became the promotions director at Mega 2. And then after that, Palm Springs, California called me.
Okay.
And that's where I got my first top 40 night show.
There you go.
You know, I really feel like California, Palm Springs was where I made, and they always say you got to leave your hometown for people to actually take you serious. So Palm Springs, California, did the night show there. Shout out to Ant Dog. I'm sure you're going to view this at some point in time, but he gave me that opportunity. And gosh, that was, I had to say, one of the best times I had in radio, because I learned a lot. One, to be away from everybody and just, it was just me. I had no family, I had no friends, I had nothing out there.
Gotta figure it out.
Yep. And it was a wonderful experience, but at the same time, a victim of budget cuts. So that was short-lived, another 2 years. You know, it's a revolving door radio. So I moved up to Sacramento for a little bit after my time in Palm Springs, and then Mikey Mike called me to come back to Phoenix.
There you go.
So it was a quick turnaround trip. It was like, go to California, come back. And Mikey Mike and Gillette called me, come back to Phoenix, Live 101.5. And again, night show. Well, I started at late nights, kind of, you know, again, got to work your way back in, you know.
7 a.m.
No, definitely not. And at that time, Lady Law was doing mornings. So it's just, everybody was so familiar. Super Snake was doing afternoons.
Okay.
Jackie was doing middays. JD was doing nights. You know, so I just came into basically a family that I already knew, and it just kind of just worked itself out. So I went from weekends to late nights. They promoted JD to mornings with Law, and then that's where I moved into the shift of, here you go. Now it's your turn. Here's nights, you know, and I killed it. I mean, I remember, you know, looking at those ratings every week and, you know, continuing to battle with the #1 position. I remember I was going against Jello at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, so of course we'd bicker at each other, you know, online, like, I got you this week. Nah, Cruz, I got you, you know.
Yeah.
But it was still fun, you know. It was all in fun and everybody's family, and, you know, I always had a good time. Then they moved me to middays. Jackie had left, and then they moved me down to middays. So now I'm thinking like, oh crap, now I'm on really during the day. Like, let's make the most of this. That was short-lived. Victim of budget cuts again, man. That was it was tough. It was tough. That was another heartbreak too. I'm like, damn, can I just get it? Like, just one time, can I last more than like 2 years somewhere? You know.
It's like it's all part of the process, but it's like the fact that you still got it when you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like better to have than never to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, you know, every radio station, everywhere I've been, it's just always been a lesson and something I've learned, something new that's come out of it. You know, shout out to Mikey Fuentes and Complex, because they rescued me from Live when I got the cut there. Literally the next day they were like, well, what are you doing? Nothing. No, come over here. I went over there. Hey, thanks, you know. Did some weekends again. Mega called me back. Yeah, it's like I would lose the job and then somehow get another job. And that was a blessing. That was truly a blessing. Like, I felt like I was never just left to just figure it out. Like, there was always somebody that was like, you always left on good terms. Like, we valued you. Yeah, so Mega called me back to do afternoons. So I did afternoons at Mega, and that was probably about a year. And then Jello fell victim to budget cuts at Power.
Right.
And we got him over at The Beat.
Okay.
And that's my first stint at really doing a morning show.
Gotcha.
because as soon as Jello went over there, I had told all the bosses, I don't care what you say, I'm doing both. They're like, wait, what? I was like, you don't have to give me a raise. I just know me and Jello are going to work. And I really want to try this. They didn't want me to do it at all. They did not want me and Jello together at all. They're like, you're going to burn yourself out? I was like, no, trust me, this is going to work. So I would go on with Jello from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then I go home and I take a nap. And I go do afternoons from 3 to 7 on Mega. And then I go back and do the same thing the next day. And Super Snake came over to Mega as our boss. And he was like, you're done with Mega. I need you to focus, just you and Jello. It's like, cool, because that's where I want to be. I mean, it's classic hip hop. Like, it's what I love, you know. Great music, and just I knew that the partnership was going to work. We had Daphne on our team. We had Hector as, you know, our video guy, and it felt like a family in a show. And I wish it would have lasted longer than, you know, what it did. But, you know, it was definitely, it's right. Being on the Mornings with Jello and Palm Springs are kind of hand in hand in making me appreciate my craft and appreciate radio the way I did. Oh, good old Donnie. You know how long I tried? Actually, first off, I tried to get Donnie Wahlberg on air for like 6 years, literally. Like, he was the hard. He would always be like, I got you, Nina, I got you. They'd be like, where's my interview? It's like, I got you. Actually, I didn't finally get that interview till, and think about it, I've been trying since I was in Palm Springs. And he finally called in when I was on with Jello. So that was like 4 or 5 years of planning to finally get him on. But no, that was memorable in the fact that I just tried so hard. Like, you know, I was like just New Kids on the Block in general. But no, that was a great interview. Charlie Murphy was a great interview, and it wasn't with Jello anybody. It was just me and Charlie, and I kill myself, and I hate myself for this too. Is this that I did not save it. And it was right there too, and I don't know why I didn't grab it to save it, but it was literally a 45-minute talk of just life. He asked me, he's like, so you gonna have kids? Like, no. He's like, why don't you want kids? Kids are fun. And I just remember him talking about that. And, you know, it was I don't fully remember. I just remember after getting off the phone with him, I just felt more motivated to just continue to do what I was doing. He's like, you know, you seem passionate about this. Just keep going. You know, sky's the limit. And
was this long before he passed, or short, or close to?
No, this was it's probably about a year prior to him passing, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. God, I wish I would have saved that. Another great interview, Timbaland, me and Jello.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
He came in, and and mind you, we had worked that morning, and Timbaland didn't even come in until 8 o'clock that night. So we had been staying, you know, running back and forth, like, is he here yet? Is he coming? Is he not coming? You know, Jello really took, because he's a huge fan of Timbaland. I appreciated Timbaland, but I wasn't the fan that Jello was when it came to that extent. But I just remember us, you know, just everybody just chopping it up, having a good time, talking, and Jello I was intrigued with Jello asking the questions that he was asking, like still learning a lot from him and just looking at it and, you know, obviously chiming in as well. And when we got done, Timbaland was actually like, this was by far like one of the top 3 best interviews I've ever had. And we actually have that on video. Yeah, we were just like stoked about it. Like, damn, like Timbaland just gave us clout. Like, you know, so we felt really good about that one. But God, man, it's hard to really like think about it because there are so many. I can't even think about another one. I mean, I've interviewed Ed Sheeran. I've interviewed DMX. For DMX. He was actually, I think he was at a restaurant, and some lady kept interrupting him while he was talking to us on the phone. And well, yeah, we get it where he's like, ma'am. He was so polite. Ma'am, he's like, I am on the phone. Right. He's like, I am trying to talk to a radio station right now. He's like, but they're recording me right now.
Right.
But you know, and then DMX talking about his history and you know his ups and downs with his addiction. Yeah, he really was, and you know he was coming back to Phoenix again, you know, to do a show, and you know, and that was another memorable one, really too. So yes, Donnie Wahlberg, Timbaland, DMX, Charlie Murphy. There we go. Those are some good ones. YG, worst interview I ever had. YG, I'm calling you out.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Not to his fault. I don't hate YG for it. Tuda and Booty just came out. I think I was like one of his first, maybe second interviews. He didn't want to be there.
Okay.
You know.
Media training wasn't
No, it was not. It was not. And it's funny because I'll see some of his artists, or I've had interviewed one of his artists, RJ, Mr. LA. And I told him, I was like, your man owes me an interview.
Right.
And he was like, oh man, he's like, he didn't have the training yet. He has to give you a new one. He owes you one, you know. But yeah, so YG will always stick in my head because it was just a horrible interview. He did not want to be there.
Right.
I was like, what did I do to you? I play your record. Why don't you want to talk to me, man? You know, but yeah, so memorable experiences. Well, if we're going to present, Nina Cruz is now Nadia again.
There we go.
Retired Nina Cruz back in March of 2000. Actually, the day I left radio was the day Arizona hit the pandemic. We shut down.
2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
March of yeah, I said 2000.
Yeah, wait.
March of 2020
That was
is
the
when
birth.
that was the birth. March of 2020 is
Okay.
when I left radio, and I just decided to
right.
yeah, I did. You know, it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where something, you know, just stops being what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want to taint this. Like, it's time to maybe just either step away and maybe come back at some point, or just step away and altogether.
Okay.
And I remember I had changed my name on Instagram just to Nadia, like already, like in the process of just letting the whole Nina Cruz vibe thing go away.
Right.
And now I work for a bank.
Okay.
I went from talking to listeners to talking to customers in the
Right.
in the loan process world. But yeah, I think I can say the bank. I'm sure I can. I work for Chase, and you know, in the loan home lending department now, and it's just a different experience. Like, I don't do any podcasts other than yours, sir. You got me out of it, so
Okay.
I don't do anything media-wise anymore. You know, I'm barely on social media now. Maybe just to skim through and things like that. But you know, I'm grateful for radio because it put me on just a different path. And you know, I couldn't change the way I did everything, and I don't think I ever would change it, because it's led me to where I am today and in the position that I am today and where I'm at today. As a matter of fact, my handsome fiance is here, and I probably would have never met him if it wasn't for radio, because I would have never met the person who introduced us if it wasn't for radio.
See, it's all
So
full circle.
got to be grateful for radio.
Absolutely. It's all full circle, and then you're Nadia again.
And then I'm
Works.
Nadia
See how
again.
that Nice.
Feels good. Like, just for you to say that, I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, people would call me, like, they would call me Miss Humble Pants because, you know, we'd be around, and I'll say my boy Hector that was on the Jello show with us. I'll never forget this day where he was all like, damn, who's that? And I was looking down, and I was like looking around like, ooh, who are you talking about? He's like, you, W. I was like, oh, you talking about me?
Right.
I just never looked at it that way. I was doing what I love to do, and making people smile worked for me as long as someone was happy with it. Like, but I never thought to be special, you know.
Yeah.
I remember family, people that do love me, that are close to me, would tell me that, like, you are special. You do mean something to people. Like, you get the attention of a lot of people.
Right.
And I just was like, but I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what makes me feel good. I love to do this. So it's a great feeling, you know. And I do get people that'll still comment it. We miss you on the radio. You ever coming back? We miss that smile, like hearing that smile, or you know, you were so funny, or you know, you just made my day. And I'm just like, I would look at that and be like, that's cool, right? That's cool. That makes me feel good. Got a lot of shout outs. Definitely got to shout out the people who started it all for me. Bruce Kelly being one of them, and I actually got to meet him. So shout out to you, Bruce, because you're the reason why I started, you know, this whole radio thing. Kid and Ruben, because they were mentors to me. Shout out to Chino, Big Ben, you know, to my very first PD, Garrison. He's the one who actually gave me my first on-air slot by myself. So thank you very much for believing in a kid. You know, shout out to Ant Dog as well in Palm Springs, California. You know, thank you for, again, believing in me a little bit more and giving me my first, you know, top 40 opportunity. Mikey Fuentes, Complex. Dion McBean, my intern partner in crime. We actually interned at Power together, and he's still in the radio world. God, there's just, it's a list of people, you know. Shout out to Jello for being my partner in crime too, you know. Super Snake, Alex Santa Maria, you know, Manic. If I forget you, don't take this the wrong way, you know. Please don't. There's just way too many. Anybody who crossed my path in radio, you know, Karina, the women in radio, Karina Minisalis, Lady Stephanie, you know, Lady Law, you know, all these women as well. So, you know, it's a big deal. Dana Cortez as well. So the list can go on and on and on. So if you've crossed my path in radio, trust me, you meant something. So I'm not forgetting you on purpose. Yes, it is. It is. And now, you know, and then to the end, you know, shout out to my future husband for still sticking by my side. Love you, baby.
And there you have it. Man, nothing but love and respect to Nina. Oh, I'm sorry, Nadia Cruz. Coming by and being on the show. This was a true treat. She is a gem, you know, and has been for many, many years in the scene out here. And, you know, it was a real honor to have her on the show with us. I wish you nothing but continued success and blessings in your new endeavors, especially with your marriage coming up. It's a beautiful thing. And, you know, just keep going, keep shining. Make sure you guys are following her on social media. Shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Well, this was definitely another one for the books. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And till next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5.
Everything you get, you got to work hard.